doctor, give me the news. I gotta. Sorry, that's just me. Hello, oh my goodness, thank you. I'm really overwhelmed. First of all, Joyce Didonado, I've always wanted to meet you. A huge fan. It really is, it's an incredible joy to be here, coming back together in person and to help you all celebrate this incredible accomplishment that you've done. I appear before you today, happily in the flesh and not on some dreadful Zoom thing, wishing strongly that somehow I was coming to you from the future. I'm not sure if I'd need 10 years or perhaps 100 years to try and gain a true and comforting perspective about this unique moment in time that we're passing through together, because I have a lot of questions I would love some answers to about what we've been living. I'm thinking of the extreme and utterly unique challenges which each of you have had to face at this moment of time over these last 2 years of your education. Challenges that perhaps we've now somehow normalized, even though we know we shouldn't. But I don't want us to kid ourselves. This moment in time is unlike anything that humanity has really ever faced before. It's landed at your doorstep right at the moment that you were meant to be taking flight. You were sent indoors when you were meant to be on stage. And you were covering your very instruments when you were meant to be opening yourself, discovering how to bear your soul through the music that you make. And I imagine that while you were prepared to address anxieties of finding your way into the musical landscape of your dreams, you didn't expect to battle the fears and insecurities of common, daily, everyday life in a pandemic world. And yet, this is your fate. This is the hand that you have been dealt, and how brave you all are to have walked through the fire. As I've tried to navigate personally through the uncertainty of this moment, I've really consciously turned to this constant, unwavering, wise, and timeless teacher that music has been for me. And I've aimed to practice what I often preach, which is that it's not about the destination, but it's about the journey, which I know sounds like a lovely meme that should be on an Instagram story, but it's really true. I'm a process person because the process is that glorious, formidable place where the magic, the growth, and the mystery happens. It doesn't happen at the curtain call. It happens on that first day of rehearsal. I want you to go back to the first memory that you can find of making music, or the first time you heard music and you went, oh, what's that? That moment where you thought, I think I'm home. I love this. I want you to forget for a moment how hard it's been to master your instrument, to suspend you might be feeling to get it right, to put on hold worrying about all the technical things you've yet to resolve and all the inadequacies that you let creep into your psyche. And I want you to remember the sheer joy that you encountered when you first discovered music. For me, it was a hairbrush, it was my bedroom mirror, it was this long yellow scarf that was supposed to be long blonde hair, being Farrah Fawcett hair, and it was the Jesus Christ Superstar soundtrack. I was home. I was alone, but I was a queen of the world. Now, I also want you to remember how powerful it was to feel understood by them that you were either listening to or making, to recall how seen you felt, and how your go-to music had the power to bring you to that ugly cry place and to bring genuine, welcome relief for a blissful, merciful moment in your life. For me, it was coming home, rushing home from school between the ages of 13 and 17 and playing the first movement of the piano Moonlight Sonata. I couldn't play the third movement, but I could play the first movement. And that Beethoven, I was sure, understood my rejection by Eric and Patrick and Mark. And he knew it better than anybody. Nobody else understood me and those rejections the way Beethoven did. Mark. I also want you to go back and I want you to recall the first time that you felt the power of sharing your music with somebody else. When you, your true self, connected and dared to share it with somebody else. When another human being felt the depth of your soul because you were brave enough to share it with them. And without saying a word, you somehow both knew in that moment that you weren't alone. For me, I was given a solo my sophomore year in high school, That Young a Child, from Britain's Ceremony of Carols. And afterwards, my dad was in tears. It was the only day I'd seen my dad cry. It unlocked something in him. And the two of us shared that music that was written 70 years earlier by some guy I never met. I believe great music and artistry connects us to the deepest part of ourselves that the modern world tries so hard to make us forget about. I mean, if we have that happiness and joy and connection to who we really are already thriving within us, because we've had the incredible luxury of exploring it through our music, then we don't actually need to purchase it anywhere. We own it. We get to create it. And I suppose that's pretty inconvenient for a world that thrives on selling us the illusion that we're just not enough. I know that the powerful ritual of offering comfort, solace, understanding to another human being through a shared experience transforms the human heart. It softens us. It opens us. It performs a kind of alchemy, connecting one human to another. And it relieves us of the tiresome burden of pretending that we're okay. Because through that shared music, we have a shared suffering. We're seen. We're understood. And we're not alone. And I suppose that's not always convenient for an external world that needs division in order to conquer and to find power. I believe an encounter with something beautiful, harmonious, even pure, that gives us the appetite, the desire, the craving to search out even more beauty. When we surround ourselves with a vista of beauty, when we create music or art that nurtures that deepest part of us, that dreams and yearns for a pathway to love more truly, well, then naturally, we have a lot less tolerance and acceptance for the ugliness of our world that feeds on the misery of the human condition. I can think of no better living example of how to face the challenges of our current world than to look at what happens when music is made. People from all different backgrounds, different experiences gather together and collectively agree to share in a ritual that can only ever exist in that moment in time. And there's safety there. There's equality there. We're united and we're alive, allowing something that isn't physical or tangible to bore into our hearts and souls. And when we invite that magic into our experience and the audience trusts us, time is suspended. We're not alone, and there's space created where we can reach out to each other, to love. And, well, I'll never quite understand why this is really the hardest thing of all, but a space is created and opened that we get to receive the love that is present around us. The music is always there with open arms. And so if it can happen in that moment, what's stopping it for us from fostering and nourishing it after the final chord sounds? We have an endless opportunity in the modern world to separate and isolate ourselves, to disconnect from each other and to shut down and numb ourselves into oblivion, really. It's decidedly more challenging to find the invitations around us to safely connect and to claim that love that belongs to us and that we have to share. The shared musical experience effortlessly, patiently, continuously shows us the way. So I'm looking at each of you today. With all due respect, I don't quite believe you understand yet just how powerful you are. Because you're here today, sitting before me, having put so much time and effort under such extraordinarily challenging circumstances. You have been called to live this moment, to rise up and to respond to the very real needs of the world around you. You have the incredible opportunity to say yes to this calling, to begin to employ everything that you have learned, all that you have conquered, all that you have overcome, and to bring that wealth of experience and wisdom into a world in need, into a world that may not always recognize that there's an urgency and a longing for a deeper connection, into a world that needs your voice to comfort it, to sustain it, to inspire it, to beautify it, to unify it. And at the end of the day, I guess you're just called to come and love it. You have that power to awaken that connection in all of us and in yourself through your devotion to your craft, through the assumption of the immense power of beauty and truth-telling that you're going to bring to your performances or compositions, through the generosity of how you lift up your colleagues and support their vital journey as well, the home that you help create everywhere you go, through the grace of how you choose to share your message and your unique voice with the world around you. So while I might not be coming to you with assurances from the future, I can absolutely guarantee you that if you stay present to your incredible journey and calling, assume your undeniable power, let go of those fears and obstacles that interfere with your calling, and do the work of embracing, loving, and empowering that spark, that youthful spark that got you here in the first place of passion and creativity, everything that brought you here today, you got this. Congratulations to each and every one of you. May you astound us with your beauty, your truth, your music, and your love. Go out there and take no prisoners.